As far as I'm concerned, you randomly kidnapping folk and you throwing them out of the country against their civil rights, against their constitutional rights. And frankly, how would they feel if some other country decided that they were going to just start throwing people randomly in our country?
Congresswoman Omar, I'm Miles Morrell with the Daily Caller News Foundation. Do you think more of your Democratic colleagues should be traveling to El Salvador to advocate on behalf of Abedigo Garcia?
I think you should.
I'm sorry, what?
With all due respect, you do understand our federal budget is $2.5 trillion in debt.
Reclaiming my time, though.
I know, but our values, we can't have values where we reduce.
You don't get to just interject, Mr. Chairman.
You know what? I think you've already spoken, so
I
you're
have
out of
not
order.
spoken on this. I borrowed on somebody else's time.
And we are back, and we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And, of course, it doesn't even cost you anything but a little flick of the finger. And it helps this content creator, me, helps us keep bringing you this excellent content. Now, y'all, your girl, Jasmine Crockett, she's done it again, y'all. She's a whiz on the mic, y'all. It's like she just picks up the mic and the most humorous, the things that she says, like nobody else could do this. Are you not entertained? So y'all, we're gonna get into how people are roasting your girl, Jasmine Crockett, for saying what she said in that coming up section at the beginning. We're gonna get into that in a moment. But before we do, y'all, a couple of things. I wanna tell y'all a couple of things about the future of this channel. One, y'all, we are going to be adding some segments. We're going to be adding a segment on finance, and we're going to be adding a segment on the law in our videos. So we have teamed up with a company, with Augusta Gold, y'all. I'm so excited about this because your boy is investing in gold. I hope you are too. If you're interested in that, check out the link down in the description. We're going to be talking more about finance, and we're going to be talking more about the law. So y'all stay tuned for that. Very excited about that. Now, y'all, before we get into why they're roasting your girl, Jasmine Crockett, take a look at this. You know, she's on a House committee. She gets an opportunity regularly to run off at the mouth. And people are also talking about this monologue that she had yesterday, y'all, where, well, just take a look. And I want y'all to let me know what you think about this in the comments.
Gentlelady from Texas is recognized for 5 minutes.
I'd like to first associate the gentle ladies, my remarks with the gentle ladies' remarks, because some things just should not be debatable. And one of the things that we know is that the Constitution is really supposed to be a guiding light. And the reason that we're having to do amendments like this one and the other one and talk about things such as due process and the Constitution is because we could actually avoid maybe detaining or sending away U.S. citizens if we just gave them their due process rights. Because I'm tired of hearing, oh, they made a mistake. Well, guess what? That mistake may cost somebody their job. That mistake may cost somebody their home. That mistake may cost somebody actually being able to still have their child, because authorities may be called because that person is now not showing up to pick up their child. Or some people don't have the privilege of having a salaried job where whether they show up or not, they're still going to get paid. Some people need to be at work. And so if you care about U.S. citizens, we know how y'all feel about immigrants, but if you care about U.S. citizens, I don't understand why this would be debatable, because if there's anybody that we're fighting for, all supposed to be fighting for, it should be U.S. citizens. In fact, it's U.S. citizens that are the ones that send us here, not Donald Trump. So with that, we should be looking out. We should have their back, and we should say, as the federal government, we will not do things that are directly going to disenfranchise our citizens. And that's exactly what this is. But if we just followed the Constitution and gave people their due process rights, then maybe they could show up and prevent some of these mistakes. And maybe these mistakes that maybe seem so small to y'all because maybe the people that are being targeted have a little bit more melanin. So maybe we don't care about the mistakes that happen with some of those folk. I don't really understand. But I'm tired. And frankly, I think y'all should be tired too. Because I think no matter what district you come from, if you were to survey your district, there is no one in your district that would say that we should spend money on ICE, immigration and customs enforcement, to detain or deport, which you can't even deport, detain and kidnap, or detain and whatever, unlawfully restrain a U.S. citizen. Not anyone in your district would actually support that. I would put money on it. And so this absolutely should be a no-brainer. And I thank you to the gentlelady from the state of Washington for proposing just common sense, which seems like it is not so common nowadays. I will yield.
As you can imagine, people are criticizing Jasmine Crockett because she's one of the people that always likes to bring melanin into every conversation whenever she can. Frankly, with her constituency, with the type of people who listen to her, who think she's a fighter and think that she's someone who represents them, I mean, she probably wins points like that. So it is what it is. But, you know, for everybody else, it kind of makes her look a little bit clownish. And it doesn't help when she does things like we're about to see right now, y'all. She is getting roasted for basically, just take a look at this next clip, y'all. She's getting roasted for this. Check it out.
As far as I'm concerned, you randomly kidnapping folk and you throwing them out of the country against their civil rights, against their constitutional rights. And frankly, how would they feel if some other country decided that they were going to just start throwing people randomly in our country? Like that is absolutely insane. So yes, all I got to say is y'all need to get these fools out of here. But
so can anybody tell what she's trying to say there? How would we feel if another country deported people to the United States? How would the United States feel if other countries were burdened with deporting people to our country? I mean, somebody help me out. I mean, people are roasting her probably because nobody but Jasmine Crockett actually knows what she even meant right there. Because one, I think Americans can certainly be deported from other countries. That's one. And two, one of the big things that people have been saying, now I haven't been able to verify this, but one of the big complaints is that other countries were sending people from jail, from mental institutions to our country. Now, again, I am not saying that as a fact. I'm just saying that that has been a major complaint among many people. Now, Crockett was speaking at a House hearing, as I said before, and one of the themes was a provision to a bill that would say Americans cannot be deported. It would prevent the president from deporting Americans. And temper started running high, y'all. Check out this representative and how impassioned she got about this.
Gentlelady from Vermont, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I associate myself with remarks of my colleagues, and obviously I strongly support this amendment. It's very simple. We will not be using funds to deport or detain U.S. citizens. And as others have said before me, this should be something that everyone can get behind, because as my colleague from California said, what do you stand for? What do you stand for? What are you made of? If not this, then what? When I first ran for office to serve in Congress, I was asked, what do I think is the biggest threat facing us in the world? And I was unequivocal, and it was immediate. I said, the rise of authoritarianism around the globe. Democracies do not fail overnight. It happens little by little as rights are eroded, as norms are upended. As my colleague from Georgia said, when Americans start spying on each other and reporting people because you suspect they may not be a citizen, that's how it starts. And as my colleague who introduced this amendment has said, my colleague from the state of Washington has said, it's not as if this is theoretical. This is not, as we often say in legislative branches, oh, this is a solution in search of a problem. That's not where we are. It's actually happening. It's happening to American citizens. And so this should be the simplest vote that we take all year, that we will not use funds and weaponize our government against citizens and create a reign of terror and fear. So again, what is it that we stand for? What are we doing here if not to support and uphold the Constitution? And others have talked about Senator Murkowski, and I think many of us were hoping that when she finally said out loud what many of us have heard from our colleagues, that they'll say behind closed doors that they are afraid, that they do not want to be targeted. They do not want their families to be targeted. They do not want the president tweeting about them. They do not want Elon Musk tweeting about them. They do not want people to show up at their doors. They're not just afraid of losing an election. They will tell you they are keeping their heads down so that nobody will notice. Well, here's the deal. This isn't going to go away. It isn't just going to fade away. If we don't stand up for the things that make us Americans, if we don't stand up for due process, if we don't stand up for all of the ideals that we hold so dear, then we mean nothing. This country means nothing. We are only as good as the ideals that we uphold. And so again, what is it that you stand for? This is the simplest thing, that we will not weaponize our government and use funds to detain or deport American citizens. Now, as somebody whose family was impacted directly by the Holocaust, I can tell you that is why I'm so animated today. That is why I am so anxious and so angry about this. Because I know what happens. Because it happened to my own family. That neighbors ratted my family out. That's how it starts when we don't stand up for basic human dignity and the rights that we are afforded in this country. I yield back.
And it's all immigration, people. I predicted this months ago. I said, I think there's going to be a few major themes. I mean, look, it's not like I'm some kind of soothsayer. I think anybody could have determined that, right? And your girl, even your girl, Ilhan Omar is getting in on the action. Check it out.
Congresswoman Omar, I'm Miles Morrell with the Daily Caller News Foundation. Do you think more of your Democratic colleagues should be traveling to El Salvador to advocate on behalf of Abrigo Garcia?
I think you should.
I'm sorry, what? Congresswoman? Who should?
You.
Why me?
We're not taking any questions right now, but here you go.
Yeah, thanks.
So Mr. Abrigo Garcia, he's still the subject of a lot of back and forth. You still have Democrats saying that, some of them saying that they're still going to go over to El Salvador. You have Hakeem Jeffries supposedly saying, look, like quietly behind closed doors, like, yo, we need to fall back on this because it's not a good look. Yo, this is a huge mess. This is a huge mess, okay?
Meanwhile, Dana, we're learning about other allegations against the deported illegal immigrant and the alleged MS-13 gang member. His name came up a moment ago, who could become the face of the Democrats' resistance against the border crackdown. Fox News now obtaining... Meanwhile, Dana, we're learning about other allegations against the deported illegal immigrant and the alleged MS-13 gang member. His name came up a moment ago, who could become the face of the Democrats' resistance against the border crackdown. Fox News now obtaining records of a protective order filed against him. His wife accusing him of violence against her and her kids, including kicking and slapping her now. It's the latest in a lengthy list of accusations against the El Salvador national. Activists called him at one point the Maryland man, so there's more details about his life coming forth, and we're going to see how that goes forward. Now, however, the Democrats who champion that illegal find themselves in a messaging mess. Mike Emanuel's got the story. He's in D.C. now on this. Mike, hello to you. Welcome.
Bill, good morning to you. Democrats' messaging on illegal immigration is all over the place. There was a report that House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries asked his fellow Democrats to stop traveling to El Salvador to visit that alleged MS-13 member, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Jeffries has denied it, and members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus are pushing back.
The answer is no. We haven't been discouraged from traveling anywhere.
I am not asking for permission. I am not appealing to the conscience of those who have zero conscience. I am calling for public exposure, oversight, and resistance.
Another House Democrat suggests the trips will continue, and he argues it only makes sense.
I'm planning on going, and I think we should continue to go.
President Trump expressed pride at the 100-day mark of his administration for what's been done to secure the border.
We have set the all-time records for the lowest number of illegal border crossings ever recorded. The number of illegal border crossings released into the United States is down 99.999%.
With Democrats frustrated about how to respond to President Trump effectively on his immigration policy and the rest of his agenda, it didn't take long for Democrats to start talking about the I word, impeachment.
Never take impeachment off the table. We should never take, where we see law breaking, we should never take accountability off the table. And I don't think that we should be, promising anything.
Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock says while Democrats may not always see their leaders fighting, they are still working on their behalf.
Okay, Mike, thanks. Nice to see you, Mike.
And y'all, if you're still hanging out on this video, you're a trooper. I thank you, but we're not done yet, y'all. We're not done yet. This final segment is going to show you a back and forth between Marjorie Taylor Greene and another representative. They're going back and forth. Y'all, Congress is just fighting each other over everything. They're fighting over immigration. They're fighting over the budget. Things are kind of out of control, I might say. But I thought I would bring this to you in this video instead of making a separate video because it doesn't seem like it really warrants its own video. I figure out whoever's hanging out to this point, y'all probably just cooking dinner or eating lunch or whatever the case may be. So hang out a little longer. Check this out.
I'm going to make clear and build on what Mr. Lynch is saying here. First of all, this is just preserving the existing programs that Americans are already depending on and are speaking loud and clear. In fact, the polling shows this week that 2/3 of Americans are completely opposed to the cuts that DOJ and Elon Musk have put on these programs. And I hear people in this chamber every single day trying to claim that they're not impacting real Americans, that these are just paid protesters. Well, let me tell you, I was in community after community in my district over the last couple of weeks, and I had people show up crying, people saying that their cancer treatments could be terminated if Medicaid goes away, people who say they will lose everything. They will not be able to put a roof over their head or food on the table if these cuts go through. People who are frightened by what they see is the absolute attack on their civil liberties and free speech and their freedom. And I actually went to the Social Security office in my district last week and was denied entry and told to call a regional office after I had an appointment, and spoke to people who are waiting, who have literally been waiting for days and weeks because Elon Musk has crashed the Social Security system, firing people. Their computer systems are down. Our call centers are completely overwhelmed, and people cannot get appointments for months. This is what's happening in America right now. And that is why I introduced this amendment, to protect those programs and to fight for the American people and to fight for the programs that we know they depend on so that they can survive. I yield back.
Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Greene.
Hi. I'd like to point something out that our Democrat colleagues know this because they did reconciliation before when they were in charge. And you know, it may be hard for some of the freshman Dems to understand, but this is not a policy debate. That's not what reconciliation is. This is a budget process. And so for the American people watching at home, our Democrat colleagues are sitting here trying to score points and spread more lies and divisiveness about Republicans in order to spread more garbage across the country. But this is about budget, Mr. Chairman, and this committee is trying to do serious work, and we need to stay focused on budget, and that's for the American people. And it is very serious that's what we remain focused on here in our work on oversight. And the Democrats know that provisions must be carefully crafted because they did it before, and it has to be scored by CBO to be included in this budget bill. And that's what we're trying to do, Mr. Chairman, and I just wanted to point that out for the people watching at home so they are not swayed by this entertainment today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Mr. Chairman.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman.
Chair recognizes Mr. Lynch.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I just want to say our federal budget reflects our values. When we fund the VA, so it's not just about numbers. It's about the mission and the purpose of our budget.
With all due respect, you do understand our federal budget is $2.5 trillion in
Reclaiming
debt.
my time, though.
I know,
I'm just saying,
but our values, we
reclaiming my
can't have
time,
values
Mr. Chairman,
where we
you don't get to just interject, Mr. Chairman.
You know what? I think you've already spoken, so
I
you're
have
out
not
of order.
spoken on this. I borrowed on somebody else's time.
All right, go ahead.
I borrowed somebody else's time, and I will speak.
Well, speak. You all have
put
put our country in debt. Kids are graduating from
You're
college.
about to put our country in $4 trillion more debt.
I don't think you all could find $1 billion in savings. You don't care about the Congressional Budget Office scores because you don't
Mr.
care
Chairman,
what
reclaiming my
anything costs.
time.
You just want to spend
reclaiming my time.
hard-working American taxpayers' money.
I asked to restore the time.
Give me 5 minutes. You can talk all you want. I want everyone in America to see how much
Mr. Chairman,
you all have to.
You're out of order.
You're out of order.
Your own chairman, and you're out of order.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Now, without interruption, what we decide here in the budget is the point I'm trying to make is it's not just dollars and cents. It's about where that money goes and what purposes and what priorities it reflects. And those, governing is about making decisions, and we.
I yield to Ms. Stansbury.
Thank you so much for pointing that out. I also think, Mr. Chairman, just being conscious of language. In this room just a few moments ago, our friends across the aisle used the word garbage to refer to our fight to protect your Social Security. I am so sorry, but seniors, veterans, children whose parents have died, kids on school lunches are not garbage. The American people are asking us to fight for them, and the fight for their rights, for the funding that keeps them alive, the fight to help the people of this country is not garbage. I think that, we're sitting here and the debate has taken this bizarre turn where it's being put forward that somehow we don't care about fiscal responsibility. I'm sorry, that's just baloney, okay? We are all about making the government more efficient. We are all about addressing the needs of the American people. This amendment is about defending the existing programs that keep Americans alive, and neither them or those programs or the federal workers who provide those programs are garbage. These are the American people. These are who we work for. We don't work for Donald Trump. We don't work for the billionaires. And the entire argument that's being put forward here today, that cutting a few little pieces here and there and decimating the federal workforce and these programs is somehow going to save the deficit, is literally a bold-faced lie. The CBO has scored your reconciliation bill. The CBO says it is going to raise the debt by $5 trillion. So if you're going to sit here and say it's not going to raise the debt, you're just lying. That is factually untrue. So if you want to play the CBO score game, Let's talk about what this bill actually does. It's going to raise the debt by $5 trillion. It's going to increase deficit spending by $37 trillion over the next 30 years. And it's going to give your billionaire donors and all those guys out there that you're trying to help, including these guys serving in the cabinet, the largest tax break in American history. And how are you going to do it? By balancing the books on federal workers and the elders and seniors and children of this country. And that's why we're fighting. And it's not garbage. And the fight is not garbage. And we are here to defend the people who we work for, not the billionaires. I yield back.
So, y'all, my personal opinion is that immigration is going to be a loser for Democrats. I don't think that they are going to find a way to convince the American people that we should take our tax dollars when we are in an amazingly difficult financial situation with budget deficits, with trade deficits, with debt. When we're in this situation, and that we should be spending any money on giving people resources and helping people who are not in the country legally. I just don't think it. So looking forward to the midterms next year, I'm going to tell you what's going to be the case. The debt and the deficit and the economy it's either going to be better or worse, right? If it's better, then Trump will take credit for that. If it's worse, then everybody's going to be looking around saying, should we be giving? When we don't have, should we be giving to people who are not in the country legally? Either way, it doesn't look good for them in the short term as it relates to relieving the pressure for them to go to their own countries, basically, you know? So anyway, y'all, I'd like to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments. Y'all know I love your comments, but before you do, please stop, hit the share button, share this video out with somebody over Facebook, email, WhatsApp, text message, Snapchat, Instagram, all the social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. Want to thank y'all for watching. And again, if you're interested in gold, which I myself am buying now, okay, y'all, you need some gold in your life, y'all. Not financial advice, okay? Check out the link down below. Love y'all, and we'll catch you back in the next one.